It's not on.
We'll be
feeling better,
Riley.
Riley.
Welcome to Mr. Hahn's blog.
Daily,
Where people actually learn
Daily.
something.
Shots fired!
Oh wait, we either got it down. You gotta do it. You gotta.
Here we go. Number one.
So loud. No.
We're all going to study now.
Wait, can you spell that?
448.
recording.
448 feet. 2 is yes. I don't know. Is there more to that? I have 10 squared plus 24 squared equals 26
it's just
squared.
yes.
Yep. I think yes will be fine. 3 is 2 times the square root of 3 plus 3 times the square root of 2. 2 times the square root of 3 plus 3 times the square root of 2. 4 negative 6x cubed minus 2x squared plus 26x plus 12. Negative 6x cubed minus 24x squared plus 26x plus 12. 5, 3s squared t squared and then times the square root of t. Yes, number 6 is whatever it is. The constant of variation is negative 5. Is what they have. 7 is no, because they don't have the same slope. 8, you have negative 2x outside of the parentheses of the binomials x minus 2, x plus 4. 9 is x plus 4y times x plus 2y. 10 is 2 outside of the parenthesis 4x minus 3 times x minus 2. 2 outside of 4x minus 3, x minus 2. 11, Jim needs to do chores for more than 4½ hours. More than 4½ hours. 12 is yes. 13 was what we skipped. 14, the vertical asymptote was negative 3, and the horizontal one was 0. What is going on? 15, x is less than 2 or x is greater than or equal to 5. X is less than 2 or x is greater than or equal to 5. 16 is negative 2a times the square root of 3a. Negative 2a times the square root of 3a. 17 is 12. 18, you should get a cubed plus 4a squared plus 2a. The leading coefficient is just the number in front of the first term, which in this case happens to be a 1. 19 is x is greater than negative 2. X is greater than negative 2. It's an open circle at negative 2 going to the right. Number 20, x is greater than or equal to negative 1, and x is less than or equal to 2, which means there's a closed circle at negative 1 going to a closed circle at positive 2. This concludes everything you need to know about math and more. Tears. Questions over answers first. Answers, Brianna. 19x is greater than negative 2. Open circle at negative 2 on the right. Jenna Jervis. Are you passing? There may not be enough sheets left over there. Aubrey. 18. A cubed plus 4a squared plus 2a with the leading coefficient of 1. These are the times that try and hold. Are these how to do's?
Yeah.
Sure. How to do number 6. How to do number 6. I love number 6. There is a third problem. Number 6 can very simply be done by doing this. In order for something to be direct variation, it has to have a constant of variation. And probably your best bet is to look at it this way. They give you 3 points. Put those 3 points in this table. X is 3, Y is negative 15, negative 2, 10, negative 4, 20. In order for something to be direct variation, there has to be that constant of variation, which means this. You have to look at how do you go from X to Y by multiplication, and it has to be the same for all of them. In other words, to go from negative 4 to positive 20, I have to multiply by a negative 5. And that would mean all of these have to be multiplied by a negative 5. And if they all are, then it is direct variation, and this is the constant of variation because it goes back to that whole direct variation, y equals k times x. When you multiply x by, you get y. Multiply it by negative 5. If you can't find this number, then it's probably not direct variation. Notice indirect variation, this is like a linear equation, except it's missing this part here. But it can't have this part here, because if it does have that part there, it's not direct variation. Anybody know why? Because if it has a number there, it doesn't go through the origin. And direct variation has to go through the origin, has to be a straight line. So much we know. So little time. Aiden, was that yours?
No. I was going to ask about number 8.
Are you still going to ask about number 8, or
Yeah.
is it on this page over here? Oh yeah. 2 things about problem number 8 you want to jot down in your notes. First of all, first step always is to look for a common factor of everything. And the second thing is, if possible, you always want to make your first term positive. Or as they call the leading term, or whatever that is. So if you look at this, you can take out a negative 2. I'll rewrite it here just for fun. You take out a negative 2, and what are you left with? I'm sorry, a negative 2x. And what are you left with? You're left with an x squared, a positive, because all these are going to change their signs, a positive 2x, and a negative, opposite sign, 8. Then you have to look at the trinomial and see if you can factor that into 2 binomials. Reverse FOIL. What times what gives you negative 8, added together gives you positive 2, and that would be a positive 4 and a negative 2. It does, in fact, work. 9 is just factoring a trinomial. And don't let this scare you, it just means that there's an x there and a y there. That'll get you what you need to know. What times do I give you 8 when added together gives you 6? By golly, a 4 and a 2. So that, we did 2 problems. This is a breakneck speed. I like the way people write stuff down. You should come talk to the 5th grade class about taking notes and stuff. Huh? You don't want to fail? Hello, River. He's probably not pretty sharp. Maybe not as smart as you. There must be another question out there. I cannot believe that we are stopping with just 2. Aubrey.
Number 4.
Number 2. You know Riley is desperately wanting us to do that. Yeah. And we haven't done a whole lot of this because it's not 2 binomial, so it's not really FOIL, but it is a big distributive property thing, which means you have to take this, first term of this, multiply it by every term of this. Then you got to come back and take the second term of that and multiply it by every term of that, and then just combine what you can. So doing the first one, changing back to red, 2x times all of that gives me this, negative 6x cubed. Stop me if somewhere I mess up on you, or if I just mess up by myself. 2x times 5x is 10x squared. 2 2x times 3 is 6x. Then you got to go and do this. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12x squared. 4 times positive 5 is plus 20x. And 4 times 3 is 12. Zens, you've got to combine what you can. There are no x cubes, so I just write that down. 10x squared minus 12x squared. 10 minus 12 is 2x squared. 6x and 20x is 26x. And you just have that 12 left off over there. Notice it didn't ask you to factor, it just said I can simplify it, and this would be as much as you can do. And if they ever ask you for the leading coefficient, boys and girls, that is the number that is in front of the first term. This, they didn't ask you on this one, but that's what it is. Leading coefficient is always a number in front of a letter. Mr. Elijah Fisher.
Number 18.
Oh, good. Something on the back side. Put up there somewhere. Where is that? Oh, that's a horrible problem. Knowing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the only way to subtract things that have radicals is if they end up having the same exact radicals. You can't put radicals that are different together. A square root of 3 does not go with the square root of 2. It has to be the same square root thing. So you're going to have to simplify each one of these. A times the square root of 12a. Factoring this down, you get what? The square root of 2 times the square root of 6, which is the square root of 2 times the square root of 3 times the square root of a. Are you with me on that? 2 times 3 is 12. So these go away and give you a normal 2, which gets multiplied by that normal a. Nothing happens to those, so you remultiply them and put them back under the radical. And that is radical, dude. So that's the first one simplified. The second one simplified, by the way, it's minus. If you take the square root of 48a cubed, is it okay if I go a quick way? 48 is the square root of 2 times 24, and the square root of 24 is 2 times the square root of 12, and 12 is 2 times the square root of 6, and 6 is 2 times the square root of 3. This is 48 broken down to its prime numbers. And then a cubed is 3a's. Are you with me? You want me to do that again slower? Or no? You okay with that? We did prime factorization in 5th grade, so we're okay with that. This gives you a normal 2. This gives you a normal 2. 2 a's give you a normal a. And you're left with a 3 and an a under the radical sign. Is that good? Oh, look. So what do I have here? 2 times 2 is 4 times a. I have 4a times the square root of 3a. Can I put those together? Absolutely. They're like radicals. If you have 2 a's and you subtract 4 a's from them, you're minus 2 a's. And it's still the square root of 3a. The radical sign does not change. So you still get this in your answer. You just combine that. 2 a's minus 4 a's is minus 2 a's. Riley, is that okay?
Yes, sir. Any other questions? Elijah.
You know, don't let the terminology mess with you. Standard form is just in descending order. Which means you have to change this so that the highest exponent term, or what do we call that? The highest, what was it? Highest, I can't remember what the phrase is. So you have to put the a cubed first in standard form. A cubed comes first. No, not terms. Degreed. You have to put the highest degree term first. So you have a cubed, then 4a squared, then 2a. And then once you do that, they ask you for the leading coefficient, and for the second time now in the last 10 minutes, the number in front of the first term in standard form is the leading coefficient. And that is why it was a 1. Highest degree term goes first.
I think this will be an easy test, personally. But then I saw that before. And
Jaden!
15.
Jaden, is that on this side or the bottom? Down here? Way down there, I got so far away. Yeah. First thing, know this is an OR problem, which means when you graph it, it's going to shoot off in opposite directions. Second thing, you just need to take each one of these and solve them for x. 3x plus 2 is less than 8, so you subtract 2, so 3x is less than 6, divide by 3, divide by 3. Luckily for me, there's no negatives here to deal with, so the sign's not going to change. You just end up with x is less than 2. Correct? On the other side, I'm going to solve this. 2x minus 5 greater than or equal to 5. Add 5, add 5. 2x then becomes greater than 10. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Again, no negatives, so I'm happy. That doesn't make sense, does it? What did I do wrong? 5? That's 5. I saw those 2's, and after watching that vlog thing, losing is a good word. Yes. I'm feeling warm from the bus, I think. X is less than x is less than 2, and or x is greater than or equal to 5 has to be colored in at 5. And you technically should probably draw a little line there. A disjunction. Dis because they're not connected, I guess. Don't be dis in that junction. Shall we stop there? Are there more? Jenna Dervis!
Number 5.
Jenna, what color should I be finding? Hurry, hurry. Where? Green is a good color.
Light green.
No, because you won't see light green. Which number, Jenna?
5.
Number 5. I love number 5. I'm going to do number 5 very slowly so you can see it. To simplify radicals, you need to time factorize them, break them down to the smallest things that can be multiplied. 9 is the square root of 3 times the square root of 3. S to the 4th is 4 square roots of s's times themselves. And t to the 5th root of t is 5 t's times themselves. And again, you are looking for groups of 2 that cancel off. And if I do that, 2 square roots of 3 give me a normal 3. 2 square roots of s give me another normal s. Another 2 square roots of s give me another normal s. 2 square roots of t give me a normal t. 2 more square roots of t give me another normal t. This little guy here, he ain't got no body. By himself, he's going to stay a square root of t. and you just need to remultiply this stuff. 3s squared t squared. 3s squared t squared times the square root of 2.
I think going to the Royal Air Force helped Harry out a little bit in his life, because he was kind of a wayward soul before that. Don't you think? Yeah, he ran into some trouble.
Friends like
Harry.
Prince Harry. That's a blind date.
There was a blind date.
Jason,
And they actually.
11.
all 11 children. All 11. Oh, I'm glad somebody asked from that. Jim borrows 95 from his parents. They agree to subtract 10% from the loan for each hour he does chores around the house to find the number of hours he needs to do the chores before he owes less than $50. Solve the inequality. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, pretty much everything up till the end is worthless. What you need to do, they told you, they gave you everything you need to know. You just need to solve this. All those words they gave you, they didn't say write the inequality, they gave you the inequality, you can solve the inequality. The unfortunate thing, Jason, is what? This should set off bells and whistles right here. This should set off bells and whistles. X should never be negative, which means in the end we're going to have to deal with some of that, but before that, let's just solve it. 95 minus 10x less than 50. First thing, Jason, I'm going to do is, want to get x by itself.
95.
I will subtract 95, which is not pretty, but it'll happen. If I subtract 95 from 50, I get negative 45. Am I correct? Negative 10x then is still less than that. Here is where the wheels will fall off. To get x by itself, you are then going to divide by a negative 10. You want to make it positive and you want to get it by itself. And you're going to divide this by a negative 10. If you divide or multiply by a negative and change the sign of the variable, the inequality sign itself will change as well. So when all the proverbial smoke clears, you end up with an x. So you get the greater than sign. And if you divide 45 by 10, you get 4.5 or 4.5. This is always something to watch out for right there. Oh, Jane, number 2. Number 2. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I suppose here's what I would do, Jaden. If it were me, I would draw them a triangle and label the lengths just to see. I know the shortest side was 10, the mid side is 24, and the hypotenuse is 26. At which point I would look at my little triples list and see if one's there. You will see it's not there, but you'll notice that these all have a common factor that you can shrink the triangle down into a smaller one that maybe will be there. So cut them both in half, cut everything in half, you end up with a 5, you end up with a 12, and you end up with a 13, in which case you would want to look at that. If looking at the triple thing is something you don't like to do, you could actually put it in the Pythagorean theorem and see if it works. In other words, you could take 10 squared, add 24 squared to it, and see if it equals 26 squared. Because if it does, then it is a triple. Well, 10 squared is 100. Anybody 24 times 24? Keith, can you do 24 by 24? Always
576.
576. So if 676 equals what 26 times 26 is, then you know it's a triple. Good start. 36, 3, 12, 15, 52. Oh, look at that. 676. If they equal each other, then it is a triple. I missed what this was. Anybody know what that said?
No.
Spanish.
Who's Amy? Yes, babe.
We do have Spanish, not today though.
This is.
This is K. Spell qual check, Brianna.
Gucci.
Okay, Walter.
KLWALCY.
Is there a Z in it somewhere?
Yeah, there is.
I think it's Y.
Is it Z?
Those are
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is.
That's an interesting one.
I don't know where it is, but I know. Maybe it's maybe
Let us not digress too soon, anybody. Really, Elijah, no one? Jaden? I already did 11.
10.
What? Has 10 on this page or the next?
It's on that page.
It's on this one.
It is on that page?
Yeah, we did these.
That page? I already did 10?
It's on the bottom.
No, it looks like the same problem that we were doing.
Well,
We're doing it again.
This is not the same.
Okay, you want every problem?
What does it say to do, factor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, factoring, please, 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 you need to put it in descending order, so you're gonna want to do this. 8x squared minus 22x plus 12. You want to write it in, wait, what was the name of that thing? No,
Standard
I
form.
forgot.
Standard.
No,
Oh, degree.
degrees, highest degree to lowest degree thing. And then Jaden followed the same rules we always do. These have a common factor of 2. You take a 2 out, you're left with 4x squared minus 11x plus 6. 4 could get messy, I don't know. You're gonna have to break this into this and this and see it. I don't know. Does it work? Does 2x and 2x work? I don't remember. You put a 3 there, you get a 6, and a 2 there, you get a 4. You put a 6, no. So we're probably gonna have to go back to square 1 and say it's going to be a 4x and an x. Can I get an 11 with that? If I put a 3 there, I get 12. No. If I put a 2 there, I get 6. And 3 what? What am I looking at? 8. Where's 8?
You said put a 2 there, you get 6, you get.
Oh, I put 2 there, I get an 8, and a 3 there, I get 11. Oh, yeah, look at that. And I put my minus sign there under negatives. This one is kind of a tougher one. Brooklyn? Oh. At one time I could. Lately, who knows? There's one a hard one? So there's the one where it already gives you the equation, you have to just have to put stuff in?
Yeah.
Oh.
Where did all?
A penny is dropped from a 500, the equation, can be used to find the height of h of the penny after falling 2 seconds. Estimate the height of the penny after falling 2 seconds. So, Brooklyn, the beauty of this is the book does everything for you, which is pretty much like modern society. They're either going to tell you the height or the time. What do they tell you? They give you the time here, do they not? The time is 2. So you're just going to put 2 in for time. So it ends up looking a little like this. 512 minus 8 equals 16 times 2 squared. So you have to square the 2 first. 4 times 16 is 64. That equals 512 minus h. Uh-oh. Now we've got some issues. Solving for h, I'm going to subtract my 512. If I, in fact, subtract 512 from 64, I'm going to get a negative something, but negative 458? I don't know. I'll do 512 minus 64. There's an 8, a 0, 4. Negative 448, yeah? So it's good because negative h equals negative 448, which means you change this to positive, change that to positive. So 448 is your answer to that. You just have to plug the 2 in for the letter T. Simple arithmetic, if you will. Lady? We already did 11, didn't we?
7.
Oh.
Razor sheet, can you put it? 14,000 per sheet.
How hard is it to turn out?
You do not have to graph these, although you probably could, but I wouldn't. You just need to find their slopes and see how their slopes compare. Which is really easy because this one already is solved to slope-intercept form. The slope is 3/5. How do I figure out the slope of line number 2? Solve for y. Make it in slope-intercept form. So 10x minus 6y equals 18. If I'm solving for y, I subtract 10x. If I subtract 10x, I end up with this. Because I try to keep it in standard form. And then how do I get y by itself? Divide by -6, divide by -6, divide by -6. This is all that matters. Is this the same as that? No, because if you reduce it, it is positive, by the way. But you reduce it, cut it both in half, you get 5/3. 5/3 and 3/5 are not the same. Would these two lines be perpendicular? Yes or no? No. They have to be reciprocals, but they have to also be opposites, and these are the sames. This would have to be a -5/3, would have to be perpendicular. Maybe they'll ask you perpendicular tomorrow, I don't know. But you gotta solve, change this. This is in what form? Standard. You wanna change it to slope, intercept. Speak of the language of mathematics. I'm about ready to fall asleep myself.
James video.
Huh?
What's James video?
What's Jamie's video?
The ball's live video.
I didn't get that video.
So what's
It's
that?
on YouTube. Was it your dunking contest?
No, that was during lunchtime. So.
Maddie Roth,
Number 3.
number 30,
3.
33.
Look for it. Look for it.
Maddie, this is just distributive property, so you gotta take the square root of 3 times those, so this is 2 square roots of 3. And this is the 3 times 6 is the square root of 18. You have to simplify that square root of 18 to see the terms, and you could maybe combine them. Square root of 18 is the square root of 9 times the square root of 2. The square root of 9 is 3. And they are not like terms. You can't put those together. That's a square root of 3, that's a square root of 2. So that's what you're left with. 2 square roots of 3 plus 3 square roots of 2. No mas, no mess, ma. Do you remember when the jump rope guy came and sang? No mess, max, no mess, max, no muss, no.
I remember Yogo.
No mas, no.
Yo-yo
Ned.
guy.
Ned.
Ned. Yo-yo guy.
Remember the guy that didn't have legs, the volleyball player?
I remember there was a speed walker that
Yeah.
came, but we had to go to band, and so we didn't get to speed walk.
Oh, we got speed walker.
Oh, I remember that.
That was
Jason,
17.
we did 17 already.
No, we didn't. No.
17, no mess, max, no mas, max, mi madre would say.
My mom.
Me madre would say. Jason, you just know, so notice this is inverse variation.
Yes.
Again, the same thing really, I would make a table and put the x and y values in there. Okay, I know y is 8 when x is 6. 6 and 8. Find x when y is 4. With inverse variation, boys and girls and children of all ages, you must get the same product from the x and y no matter where you are on the table. In other words, 6 times 8 is 48. No matter what two numbers you put for x and y, they always have to multiply to give you 48. So in this case, it was a 4, so you know 4 times what gives you 48? A 12. If they would put a 1 here, this would have to be 48. If they would put a 1/2 here, this would have to be 96. If they would put 1/8 there, it would have to be whatever 8 times 40 is. Does that help? These two have to, inverse variation, they have to equal the same thing. Direct variation, you have to see what times this gives you that, and that's completely different. That's why as one goes up, the other one goes down, they balance out to give you.
This is literally the longest.
You want us to be gone?
No.
Yes.
Are you gonna miss us?
I'm gonna miss, is that a song?
I'm gonna miss you when I'm gone. I'm missing you.
Josh! Number 20, children.
You said it so sad.
Oh, 20 is a good one because I could see how many people could get mixed up with this. Take a look, see here. This is the order in which one must do this. This is one of the compound inequalities. You need to solve the middle for x. You need to get x by itself in the middle. And the way to do that most simply would be step number 1. Simplify and do what you can in this middle. If there's 2 x terms, so put those together. You get 6x minus 2. Boom, 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 boom. Step number 1 complete. After that, to get x by itself, you have to remember you have to do it to both sides. In other words, I want to get rid of this minus 2, so I have to, as we say in 5th grade, plus 2. But I got to plus 2 on both sides. And if I plus 2 on both sides, this gives me a negative 6. 6x is by itself there, and this gives me a 12. And then to get x by itself, I need to divide by 6. But I need to divide everything, both sides, by 6. So you end up with that negative 1 over there. You still have the less than or equal sign. You end up with the x in the middle and a 2 at the other side. And that's that compound inequality that when you graph it, the color in the middle, -1, it can be equal to, so you color it in. 2, it can be equal to, so you color it in. X is greater than or equal to -1 less than or equal to. Number 19, we might as well do since we're there, same thing, you're solving for x. Why, when I move this 4 over here, why don't I change the sign? Because it's not by multiplication or division. You can add and subtract stuff from one side to the other, the signs will never change. If you multiply or divide by negatives, then you will. Subtract 2, when you get negative 14. 7x greater than negative 14, divide by 7, divide by 7, x greater than negative 2. Not a compound inequality there, by the way, that's just a single inequality. Where are we at here? You did not do this. 14, you just have to remember, because I know some of you are probably less than. Total. 14 down here, just remember this. All you are looking for, the only thing that's important is this bottom. No. Is it going to go?
Yeah.
Oh, not bad though. The only thing that is important is this bottom part and this number that's not there. You have to think whatever this number is, the vertical is the opposite of that. So that was a positive 3, so the vertical asymptote is the negative 3. Because it's whatever gives you the 0 on the bottom. You can never get a 0 on the bottom, so that's why this can never be that. That's what that asymptote is. And then the horizontal one is whatever that number is over there, which is 0. Just that simple, as it says in your notes. If you were graphing it, I don't think it asked you to graph it. At -3, you have that dashed line, at 0, you have that dashed line, and then you graph this thing that looks like this. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll try to be more animated next time. Altenburg?
Number 12.
We've not done 12 of all the things we could have done. Yeah, and the only thing, you just have to remember what a perfect square trinomial is. A perfect square trinomial would have to be a trinomial either with pluses or minuses times itself. In order for that to happen is, this would have to be a perfect square. Is there some number times itself that gives you 16? Positive 4, correct? Or negative 4, by the way. The question is, if you put an x out there, will you get the right middle term? Is 4x plus 4x 8x? Yes, it is. So I could write this as x plus 4 squared. If you could make it this, then it is a perfect square trinomial. You could have also a minus 8x there, because then these would both be negative 4s.
What is backwards?
What? This is backwards. Am I stopping?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye, Riley.
Bye, Riley.
We missed you.
Hope you feel better.